A heated iron was brought close to the girl's lips. The first girl was so frightened that she lost control. The second girl was so scared that she fainted. But when it came to the third girl, she was not afraid at all. Instead, she leaned forward. Just as the iron was about to touch her lips, the matron finally told them to stop. But the girl was still shaken. When she removed the white cloth, she thought she had passed easily, not knowing that something even more unsettling was just beginning. Place the plate on your head. Walk across the narrow beam. If the plate falls to the ground, you will be punished for hours. Songer moved carefully, afraid the plate might fall. Fortunately, she made no mistake. But when it came time to sleep, the rules became even stricter. She had to lie flat without moving. Even turning over would bring punishment. Many children could not take it and began to cry. But Songer remained steady. She forced herself to endure. She swore to become the lady of the palace. It turned out her father had passed away from illness, but her stepmother did not care at all. Even the last bit of funeral money was spent on drinking. Though Songer was still very young, she was unusually sensible, and had to cook for the whole family. One day a neighbor came to her stepmother. Because she worked in the palace, she planned to take Songer there, and gave them money for the burial. Songer looked at her father's grave. She cried with deep sorrow, and swore to work hard in the palace, to become the lady of the palace, and build a grand tomb for her father. But life in the palace was not easy. One small mistake could bring punishment, and she could also be bullied by older maids. She was dragged into a room, but she refused to give in. "You little newcomer, how dare you talk back to us?" They told her to kneel and admit fault, but she fought back fiercely. What followed was a harsh slap, but no matter what they did, she would not submit. "I will remember your face. One day I will make you answer for this." It would have been better if she had stayed silent. After speaking, she was punished again, yet she did not take it to heart. She only held a mirror and looked at her face. As long as her face remained unharmed, it was her greatest advantage. The next day she drew a portrait of a king on the ground, and swore she would become the mistress of the inner palace, to change her poor fate. But after finally enduring every test, she discovered that the king had suddenly died of illness. Songer could only shift her attention to the crown prince. That night the crown prince was in his room weeping for his father, and Songer secretly watched him from outside. She had to find a way to marry the crown prince, but while she was lost in the moment, a hand suddenly appeared behind her and covered her mouth. Chief Steward Yen demanded to know if she had lost her mind. "Do you not know what kind of place this is? Coming and going here as you please is already a capital offense." Songer was terrified, and lied that she had gotten lost and wandered there by mistake. But the steward did not care, and dragged her away at once. Luckily the maid who had taken Songer in was on good terms with the steward, and that spared her life. Although the maid cared deeply for the child, a stern scolding was still unavoidable. "You really are far too bold. Do you know what kind of place the crown prince quarters are? If you cause trouble you will drag me down with you. If you make another mistake, I will send you back to the countryside." Songer quickly knelt and admitted her fault, begging not to be sent back. "I would rather die here, than ever return to my stepmother's side." Only then did the maid let her off. But just a few days later, because she was peeking at the crown prince again, another maid caught her and dragged her out. But Hanwha happened to see it. She told the maid not to hurt the child. "Does it not hurt when someone twists your ear? Why are you not crying?" "Of course it hurts when someone pulls your ear. I just choose not to say anything. Even if I shouted and cried no one would help me. It would only make other people laugh at me." Hanwha admired Songer very much, and told the maid not to hit her again. But it would have been better if she had said nothing, because after hearing that Songer did not appreciate it at all, "It would have been better if you had not pleaded for me. Now that you have spoken up for me, I will surely be punished 10 times harder." Even so she still knelt and thanked Hanwha for her kindness. What Hanwha did not know was that the girl in front of her would one day become her daughter-in-law. Sure enough, the moment she left, Songer was dealt with. "You promised Lady Han you would not hit me again. If you hit me I will tell Lady Han. Do not worry, you will not have another chance to see her." Because Songer is sensible and capable, she is soon noticed by another court lady, who tells her to stay by her side from now on, and takes her to see the king's great hall. This is the very place she has always dreamed of. That night Songer parts from her foster mother, and cries her eyes out. Her foster mother cannot bear to part with the girl she raised, but she is only a low-ranking court lady, so how could she dare refuse head court lady Hong, who oversees palace affairs and wants the girl transferred? "I do not want to leave your side either, mother. You are the one who raised me, and I have not yet properly repaid your kindness." Her foster mother tells her to take good care of herself, and to be sure not to cause trouble. They hold each other and cry for a long time before parting. But the moment Songer walks out of the room, she breaks into a delighted little grin. Everything in front of her foster mother had been an act, because only by staying beside head court lady Hong can she see the young king. The first time they meet he calls head court lady Hong his real mother, and that makes head court lady Hong overjoyed. She even has Songer sleep under the same blanket with her, but because she still has to care for the young king, she tells Songer to go to sleep first. Yet as soon as she leaves, Songer pinches her nose, disgusted by how awful the room smells. One day her foster mother calls to her from behind, but she pretends not to hear, because she has no desire to bother with that foster mother anymore. Yet the moment she turns around she bursts into tears. She really is a master at acting. She tells her foster mother that she is living miserably, that head court lady Hong smells terrible, and that sleeping beside her makes her feel like she cannot bear it. But head court lady Hong hears every word from outside the door. Although she is furious, she does not go in to confront Songer. Instead she tells the palace maid outside, not to mention that she was ever there. That night Songer still sleeps with her foster mother, and only after watching her foster mother fall asleep, does she quietly get up and leave. Then she returns to head court Lady Han's room, where head court Lady Han pretends to be asleep, because she also feels that Songer is destined for greatness, so she chooses not to mind those harsh words. But what no one expects is that only a few days later the young king is forced by his uncle to give up the throne, and this leaves Songer furious. After all her effort she had finally managed to get close to the young king, and now all of it has come to nothing. She bitterly resents Grand Prince Suyan for taking the throne, but how could she possibly give up just like that? Instead she sets her sights on Grand Prince Suyan's grandson.